Hello and welcome to the Morningscape podcast. I am Matt Moody, joined by DJ Mitchell. We're here to do the final Morningscape podcast of 2025. Let's get into it.
You're sitting there looking like an idiot.
Well, is that any different than normal?
This is the first time I will admit was unbelievably wrong.
The first and the only time DJ was unbelievably wrong. Fascinating stuff. DJ, how you doing on this fine Sunday evening?
You know, I can't complain after Saturday night. The heroics, the $4,500 profit of sorts type of night with some round robins and parlays. Certainly no complaints on my end. So pretty good. Sunday, not quite as great. I mean, Chantilly started strong in the hockey streets, and it's not going to come all the way home. But what are you going to do? You can't win them all. How is your beautiful, wonderful, rainy? I don't know how it is in Philly. What is it? Sunday night. How was your Sunday night?
Well, you see, I 5-stacked the team that has 7 goals. So, smashing. No, just kidding. Losing. Lost everything. Every slate, every sport. Doesn't matter. Just nothing matters. Just, what can I say?
Said it all.
Yeah, just more bullshit. Just unfathomable, really. But it is what it is. On we go. And the only way out is through, or something like that.
I believe that's what they say, yeah. And they're going to say new year, new me soon.
And yeah, Christian McCaffrey waltzes into the end zone on my television as it goes off. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Did you play him?
There's nothing left. No, absolutely not. I played the alpha double quarterback team, and Jawan Jennings has 0. So
I'm aware.
That's how you lose.
That is how one would lose. Okay. Football is stupid. And hockey is much better. So why don't we get into it? We have 11 games. I said 12 earlier, and you said it's 11. It is 11. So did you have the sheet? You want to pull up the sheet here, and I can do I'll try to condense my nonsense. By the way, if you missed it, Matt did a stream on Saturday, which I planned on being a part of, and I just completely forgot because I was going to go to Hamlin, where we're from. Getting into all the logistics, I was going to go Friday, and it got moved to Saturday because it was just raining sheets of ice in Buffalo because we get very normal weather. It's worse in Rochester, to be honest, but regardless. So Matt, thanks for holding down the fort. Definitely plan on, as the season progresses and there's less going on Saturdays as far as other sports are concerned, like probably getting more into them. More people just want to engage on, I think, Saturdays when there's not that many other sports in town. So anyways, we have quite the slate ahead of us. We have a Rangers Carolina to start. Carolina, of course, looks good in the Scott Morrow Bowl, as everyone's already calling it. You may be thinking, why use him? Rangers top power play defenseman Scott Morrow. Does it stick? Who's to say? Game 2, Washington at Florida. In a bowl. I'm sure there's a player that correlates between the two teams. Nothing's coming to mind, so I'm just going to get off it, but there's probably someone. These two teams, they probably don't like each other much. I don't know. This is one of those games where I feel like there's a lineup to be built with players in this game, and I'm never going to figure it out because these teams continue to not put the right lineup for me to want to play it together. Columbus will be on a back-to-back against Ottawa. Brady Tkachuk cover boy situation. He's up to 8,500. The Ottawa Senators have been pretty good and have won some games lately, but I think they could get a little bit chalky on this slate. I'm not sure if I want to go crazy on that yet, but people like to play against Columbus. Columbus without Werenski feels like a good opportunity. And there's, Matt, you have any players that they played on both teams off the top of your head?
No, I don't know what we're talking about, so no.
Okay. I'll let you tilt whatever you're seemingly potentially tilting. I was almost going to say Monahan, but Monahan never played for Ottawa. Okay. Keep it moving. If nothing
Matt
obvious-
Duchene. Matt Duchene got traded.
Okay,
to
yeah.
and from.
I was really trying to keep it to players on the slate, and I don't know why I'm doing that. Yeah, I'll expand my scope to players like Matt Duchene. But we follow that up with weirdly a 7:30 start in Winnipeg for Edmonton and Winnipeg. Not that absurd, but game doesn't profile fantastically. Winnipeg is it's starting to feel a little bit dire there. Listening to some other podcasts today, as I didn't really watch a lot of football, kind of forgetting how Winnipeg has not really been that great. Edmonton's been just, all McDavid all the time as he's come on in full force. And yeah, I mean, this is a good one. This is an interesting one, but doesn't look great on paper. Morrissey's day to day. We'll get into it when we get into it, though. The surging best team in the league, Buffalo Sabres, in a Patrick Berglund Bowl against the St. Louis Blues.
You're not going to call it the Tage Thompson Bowl because you're stupid?
I want to do Patrick Berglund because he didn't want to play for the Sabres so bad that he voided his contract and went back to Sweden. I think that's funny.
Interesting.
You want it to be a Tage Thompson Bowl, it could be a Tage Thompson Bowl. That great call out. Great call out. Do you not remember the Patrick Berglund? All right, let's keep it moving.
Of course I remember that. But what does it matter? The Sabres are the best team in the world. Everyone would be lucky to be traded to the Buffalo Sabres.
If he could go back in time, I'm sure he would change his decision. But he's not currently in the Buffalo Sabres organization. The Yarmos, if you will. Game on paper look bad, but will it be bad? All of that and more to find out. Will Dahlin be back from Sweden to play? I mean, lots to uncover. Yes. But the answer is yes. Thank you, Matt. I was trying to be a little bit of a teaser. Boston and Calgary following game in a Dan Vladar Bowl. How about that for you? No, he's not there anymore, but he went from Boston to Calgary, and now he's out in Philly doing stuff. This one looks a little more interesting. I feel like the Flames have just been like quietly pretty decent for DFS. And I'm not sure if they're playable, but like they've been shooting. We move over to LA and Colorado in a extremely up-tempo bowl that looks very good because Colorado is awesome. LA came out of the break and looked very, very good in their first game back. So this will be interesting. Quentin Byfield actually did stuff. I was very happy to see that. If his resolution was being good at hockey, boy, would I welcome that. And I believe this is I can't think of any players off the top of my head like right away. You got anyone?
For which game?
LA, Colorado. I don't think anyone that currently plays. Darcy Kemper Bowl. Darcy Kemper. Duh. Darcy Kemper Bowl. What are we doing?
Darcy Kemper might be back.
I mean, I don't think so, but that is something to keep an eye on every slate. He is a little bit cheaper than the other goalies for LA, but not much. So I don't know. It doesn't matter. Nashville and Utah. This is a game that they're going to play. I don't know if there's all that much more to say. Doesn't look great. Utah has been kind of bad. Forsberg has sort of came back to being good. I don't know. This nothing coming to mind as I try to. I need to plan this ahead. I think this is the last time I'm going to not plan ahead and try to think of them on the fly because this is just like not that much fun.
The people are clapping in the background here. I don't know.
I keep thinking like I like to almost like do it as a challenge, but it's not that much fun to actually do. And I think I'm going to plan ahead and do it like I did the one time where I actually had the stuff prepared. And that's what this game's really all about is figuring out what's going to work. Both teams not doing great at figuring out what's working, not planning ahead very well, and furthermore, not winning enough games. And that's what Utah and Nashville has taught me today. Finally, we get to the cocaine circus, the San Jose Sharks and the Anaheim Ducks. I mean, again, this is the cocaine circus bowl. I don't even think I need to think of a player because it's just going to be bananas. All of the players doing all of the shots, scoring all of the goals. Over under should be 42.5. We move over to the rivalry everyone's talking about and no one can get enough of, Vancouver and Seattle. I mean, the Pacific Northwest Bowl, it doesn't get any better than this one right here. These teams hate each other. And by that, I mean they hate their fans because they never win. there's a lot of value here, a lot of players that to keep an eye on. It looks like McCann will be back. Montour is getting close. Options mixing in. Zeev Buium continues to be cheap. I think this game has a lot of intriguing notes for punts if you need to, and with McKinnon and McDavid, that could definitely come to the forefront. And finally, last but not least, everybody waiting for me to finally finish this off with Minnesota and Vegas these are two very good teams bowl with players that probably played on both teams that are not coming to mind off the top of my head. So Matt, with that, I ask you if there's anything you want to add to my nonsense, or are you ready to get ready to the slate?
The Alex Tuck Bowl for
Alex
Minnesota
Tuck.
Vegas.
Yeah, there we go. That's
Make everything about the Sabres challenge. All right, now do the preview again, but everything is a Sabres tie-in.
So we're gonna start it off. Okay.
Carolina at the Rangers. I remember where I was. I remember where I was for two Sabres series against both of those two teams. I don't think I can say that about any other game on this slate because I've not been alive for Sabres playoff series against both of those teams. But I do remember it being in Orlando at Disney for the Ranger series. Chris Drury, Max Afinogenov, and then Carolina, obviously, puck over glass. So there you go. There you have it. There's my Sabres tie-in. And yes, I will do the same thing for all 10 games now. Shout out to the, I think we had one viewer when you made the two funniest things I may have heard you say this year on the San Jose game being a 42.5 total, and Vancouver and Seattle, the rivalry is against their fans. I mean, just A+ stuff. And that's why the people keep coming back. They're coming back in droves, DJ.
I really do think it's do what you're prepared for today. And I am prepared to say nonsense, and I'm not prepared to say much of value. So here we go.
Right.
Let's get into it.
Here
we have.
I got to get the prices in. I did not do that.
Yeah, no, these do not look like prices to me.
In this
Rangers,
game, okay. Rangers at Carolina. Some question marks. The one question mark that I think we can overrule is the fact that Adam Fox took reps on the power play 1 today, because that was unexpected. I don't think he plays, but certainly keep an eye out for it. If he doesn't play, we expect Scott Morrow to power play 1. They moved Will Cooley up to the top 6, so it's Perreault, Trocheck, Cooley. They're keeping Panarin, Zibanejad, Lafreniere. And Sam Carrick is mispracticed due to illness. I expect him to play, but, whatever. Who cares? I can't say I have much interest in the Rangers side other than the fact that, there is the fact that Carolina's been relatively weak defensively pretty much ever since they lost Slavin again and they lost Seth Jarvis. It's been a handful of games. It's been fine for them. They've been fine, but the expected goals against look pretty rough in that time span. So I don't know. That might not hold, but worth noting. I don't know. Will Cooley at 3,900 is probably the only player I'm considering. Panarin at 7,300 is interesting, but honestly, I would need to compare his point per dollar stuff to some of the other studs on the slate. There's no McDavid, so that helps, but there is a McKinnon. We got Pastrnak we'll talk about in a bit.
What happened to McDavid?
And then obvious. Oh yeah, never mind. Edmonton is on the slate, so scratch that. I'm not spending money on. Yeah, there he is, 9,800. I missed Edmonton. I was looking for them later in the slate because why is that game like the third game off?
I don't know.
Why is that? Yeah. Okay.
I said that exactly, almost word for word when I went over that game. I was like, why is this game at 7:30? It's okay. I understand not listening to my nonsense. Most viewers don't.
We are the same person, just in radically different forms. All right. Anyway, 7,300 on Panarin is interesting in a vacuum, but again, I want to spend up on X player. Maybe McDavid, maybe someone else. Probably McDavid. So why would I do that? That's kind of where I'm at. But Will Cooley makes sense. Gabe Perreault, not that interested, but Vinny Trocheck, maybe you can do the full line stack for 11.8K, whatever. Carolina side, I think, is more interesting, unless DJ, you want to talk about the Rangers? I suppose you get to speak on the show.
I think that I've been on the bandwagon of like, this Carolina team may be sneaky. This is not the spot. They have been very good. They looked very good the past couple games out defensively. I want to get over to Carolina though and talk about the lineup change. They did win 5-2. They moved Stankoven, as we mentioned, like you mentioned. I think actually he was they were like, we got to make this guy a center, and now it's like maybe not. I think this is a better iteration of the team in general, going with Aho, Stankoven, and Svechnikov as the top line at 5-on-5. It's not power play correlated, but we can't win them all. Ehlers with Kotkaniemi and Jackson Blake just sort of becoming a true second line. I think Stankoven's totally fine to throw in that top line, but it's not my favorite play on the slate. But I definitely think the price considered, it's I think a pretty good option. Anything you want to add to the top line in Carolina, or are you looking elsewhere?
No, I mean, I'm just looking through the minutes last game. Stankoven played 12:39. So like, I don't know, feels like more of the same nonsense from Carolina. I don't think any of these lines are really speaking to me. I was hopeful that maybe Stankoven would, do something, but he didn't. And second line is nuked because Kotkaniemi is awful. I mean, we all know this. That's why they used a winger as their center for the first third of the season. But the Shane Gostisbehere night occurred against Detroit. Classic revenge spot, Shane Gostisbehere, obviously, with no Slavin, no Keandre Miller. Keandre Miller did practice today, but it was in Gostisbehere's spot. So I do wonder if Keandre misses another game. If he does play, though, I expect him to be with Sean Walker. However, if Keandre Miller misses, Nikishin played 25 minutes and 3,100. I mean, that's pretty spectacular. So we're very into the Alexander Nikishin experience. It didn't get there for us in fantasy, but, it certainly could. And he's going to be a guy that does things from a fantasy standpoint. You look at his rates, 24% above the league average defenseman, DK points per 60, 38 and 35% above expected, or above the average defenseman in shot rate and point rate, which is very good for a guy not on the top power play for his team.
And there's just massive goal upside in this guy. I mean, he's not going to score 15, 20 goals this year, but he's going to have, I think, up to 10 or 12. So I just think there's more upside. Dude. Well, no, not if I don't believe in him. So I'll start believing in him. I just
thank you.
If you watch him play and you watch him line one up, it looks a little bit different. And his 4 goals on the year are not by accident. So I think that there is like more upside. So if you're like looking at like 3,100 and thinking, well, I think you could play him. Keandre Miller is day to day. If he doesn't play again, I definitely think the minutes could be for real.
Washington at Florida. Washington coming in off of a overtime win against New Jersey. They rolled out Protas, Strome, Wilson, Ovi, McMichael, Sordiff, Leonard, Dowd, Bavillier, Duhaime, LaPierre, Ethan Frank. D pairs were as expected. Jake Chikrin continues to be the alpha there. 12.1 expected over the last 10 games, 11 actual. Very good, excellent player, if you will. I can't imagine anything to do with this team that does not involve Chikrin at this point. Sordiff got power play 2 times, so technically Ovi, McMichael, Sordiff is fully power play correlated because Ovi plays both power play units. That line is 13.8K. You add on Jake Chikrin. That's what I would do. The first line, Protas, Strome, Wilson, I don't trust it nearly as much, and it's 2,000 more expensive at 15.9K. But Ryan Leonard is also a player you can just take out and add into any of those stacks. Whether it's replace Protas, whether it's replace Sordiff or McMichael, or just you play, Wilson, Leonard, Ovi, or something like that. I truly think any of their good players you can play together. What a novel concept. But I like the spot in heading into Florida. Florida just got walloped by Tampa. It was a close game, but Tampa played bully ball. I think there were, 1,000 penalties between the two teams. But yeah, I mean, literally just, the math has to be here, right? There are so many penalty minutes, but maybe it's on the NHL page. DJ, what are your thoughts on the Capitals?
I mean, I feel the exact same. This is kind of what I was saying when I went over it. Like, I think there could be an iteration of a winner here. It's definitely coming through Chikrin, though. I mean, whatever you're playing, whatever you're thinking about playing, Chikrin is, I believe, an underdog scoring, which is somewhat similar to DraftKings. Like, he's like third. I think DraftKings, he's also third in fantasy scoring by defensemen, and just not really priced that way still. And if they're getting there, it's coming through him. I kind of feel like I want to say Strome, Wilson, Chikrin, but I'm never putting that in. There just doesn't feel like there's enough upside on an 11-game slate that's ever actually winning the slate. Like, you're going to need an absorbent amount of points, and you're probably going to need the power play to click, and Ovi's just coming along for that ride. So at that point, you're going to get into overstack territory. I just don't think that's what I'm going to have tomorrow. But I think that just because it's difficult doesn't mean it's wrong. And maybe you're right here. It's just you play the second line. You pray that the second line has the second power play sort of magic that Ovi stays on the ice for. And a couple points from Sordiff and McMichael along with Ovi will really get you where you want to be in this world.
Gosh, where do I want to be in this world? I'm accepting all answers. Okay, sure. Florida, Luostarinen, Lindell, Reinhart, Verhaeghe, Bennett, Marchand, Samoskevich, Rodriguez, Greer. I believe that's how they played against Tampa. I did not see lines for them from today, so we're just going with that. And yes, I did look it up. In that Tampa-Florida game, Tampa won decisively 4-2 with an empty netter, courtesy of Kucherov. But they won the penalty minutes battle, which of course they care the most about, 87-49. Just penalties galore in this one. Misconduct's being handed out like candy on Halloween. But just took it to Florida. Florida, a team that they have been playing better. We've talked about that many a time now on this here broadcast, but I do not think that they are a team I want to target against the Capitals. I like the Capitals. I've said that 1,000 times by now. So I'm not going to tout anything because I truly don't think there's anything here that I really am that interested in. If you do play Florida, I would highly suggest you take a long, hard look at Seth Jones. He's just been very good this year. He's 4,400. I'm going to take a look at his game logs because I don't think he's peaked at any point recently. But even still, I
thought he had the one game that was like 30 something.
He had a 20. Maybe
I'm thinking of that.
Has he? Okay, he had 24 on December 6th.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I feel like I remember him scoring and having a couple. Like I thought he had a 3-point night in there, but yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think Seth Jones is underpriced. He's an option for sure. It's Reinhart, Seth Jones, probably plus one more guy. Yeah. I think it's just probably Sam Bennett, and that I might just go that route if I do it, but I'm not gonna do it. Like, I'm not gonna stack against Washington. I think you share the same sentiment as me, as that. While Logan Thompson is a good goalie, I think it is just the structure of this team that is very, very sound in front of the goalie. And even when they give up shots, it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of dangerous shots. And I worry about the upside of Florida on this slate regardless. So I'm probably not going this way.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to advocate for a power play one that's like 19K. 29K, like the 5 guys. It's just a lot of money to spend in what I don't think is a great matchup. So let's keep the show rolling along. Columbus heads into Ottawa. Columbus played on Sunday evening. I'm pretty sure this is how the lines went, but I just updated it off of my viewing experience. Let me see. Marchman, Fantilli, Marchenko, Jenner, Coyle, Olivier, Johnson. Okay, so Johnson moved with Sillinger and gone, so then it was Wood, Monahan, Voronkov. Power play was Matejchuk, Voronkov, Fantilli, Monahan, Marchenko. So What is that? These clowns. Yep. Okay.
Those would be the clowns.
And then Jenner, Marchment, Severson, Provorov, Coyle.
I'm not.
Jenner.
Yeah, not Fabro.
Get out of here.
Not
Get
Wood
outta
either.
here. Great.
Yep.
Oh wait, Severson. So
Yeah, Severson.
Who comes off? Kent Johnson
Kent
didn't get
Johnson.
power play time.
All 8 minutes
Wow.
of Kent Johnson. They really, really love Kent Johnson. That
That's
guy's.
tough.
You hate to see it for the believers.
And I expect
your
it to
best
be
ball.
Elvis, if that matters for you Ottawa folks.
Yeah, I'm not a person that likes to stack against Ottawa. Not something I do very often. It would have worked last time they played because they gave up, I believe, 7 goals to Toronto. So I it's not that it can't get there. I think they're much better than that. I mean, they gave up 7 on a 2.6 expected. I don't really blame the Ottawa Senators team for that so much as maybe Marilainen doesn't quite have his stuff. And once Omar came in, it just didn't really fucking matter at that point. Yeah. So I'm not playing a back-to-back Columbus team against an Ottawa team that I think is very good. The Giroux line is one of the better shutdown lines in hockey. They'll be on the Fantilli line. And I just have no faith in anyone else on this team being a prolific, daily fantasy asset. I get going Monahan Voronkov. I really like Voronkov. I think he has probably, more value than I think the DFS community gives him as far as stacking him in, but I don't see enough upside on this team to go to bat.
Yeah. I'll need to take a look at Marchment, Fantilli, Marchenko again. I'm still scathing over Fantilli getting like 30 DraftKings points, and I mean, whatever, it didn't matter because Pittsburgh, nothing matters. Nothing ever fucking matters in this stupid sport.
Right.
But
and world, yeah.
So but he had a great game, and Columbus did nothing until late in the third. So the fact that that volume came in is quite interesting because Ottawa's a little strange. I think Tim Stützle is fine, but he didn't practice today, and they rolled out like new lines that just frankly don't make a ton of sense if he was going to play. So I say that because I'm scrolling to find it now. They practiced Kachuk, Cousins, Batherson, Perron, Pinto, Zetterlund, Amadio, Greg, Giroux, Cousins, Halliday, McDermott. And they're talking like Shin Pinto is going to be back. So this screams to me that Shane Pinto is not playing because it's just Tim Stützle goes into that configuration and, off we go. But I don't know. So I'm interested to see what comes of that because also Jake Sanderson didn't practice and I fully expect him to play. Yeah, again, not really too sure what to do with all of this. Let me find Tim Stützle in the DK thing. But DJ, any thoughts on Ottawa? I know Tim Stützle is the big question, but if it is Kachuk, Batherson, and Cousins, does that interest you at all?
You're missing a letter, I think, in his name.
Yes, I need to fix it. It happens every time.
Okay. I have some, like, I think I kind of summed it up, and I'm going to keep it kind of exactly the same as what I said before, is I think Ottawa could get a little bit chalky. I mean, it is expensive, but people will, I think, look at this matchup. They'll see, Merce Lincoln's in net, and really the fact of Brady's been very good as of late. He hasn't had a giga nuke since the 20th, but that's always kind of right on the precipice. I think that I worry about ownership a touch here. It's not. This might be a little bit of a DJ predicts ownership that isn't real because there's still Edmonton and Colorado to get to, but I feel like people will want to click on some of these players. It just depends on what the configuration is because Stützle is getting quite expensive. It's probably warranted with his recent run, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't think I'm playing it, and I don't think I'm going to the second line either, but I actually think that's where I have more interest. Like Batherson's sort of been the guy that I've wanted to get more play on. Cousins, it's been touch and go, but I don't think many people are going to go to the second line here. Of course, we still need to know exactly what the lineup will look like, but I think I'm more interested in the second line than the first. Famous last words.
Famous last words indeed. Shout out to the GOAT, Xavier Bourgault. Made his NHL debut, played at 643, had 3 shots on goal, registered 9.0 expected fantasy points. Just keep on being a king. I don't know that he plays in this one if Shane Pinto returns, but in any case, I talked about him on Saturday because it was my show, damn it, and we have fun. Shabbat's been very good, 4,300. Sanderson has cooled off a bit. With Shabbat back, I would also expect the minutes to reduce further for Sanderson, so I'm not overly interested in stacking a 6,500 defenseman here. But I would be interested in a Cousins, Kachuk, Batherson, should that be the line.
Yeah.
That line would cost you 19K, and with their last 10 expecteds, they would get you 39 expected fantasy points, and just about that number in actuals, maybe a tad lower. 37, which again is right around that 2x number that I constantly talk about here. It's just sort of like a guiding light. So a reasonably priced line, especially if late news hits and Stutzel's like not playing for some reason, then that would be just even further concentration onto what I think should be moderately owned Ottawa. Like, I know you talked about some of the possibilities, but I do think they'll catch some ownership because both Edmonton and Colorado are in difficult matchups, and even Minnesota for that stretch. Like, just all these expensive guys are in really tough matchups. Boston with their new lines are not really, Pasta's not in that same price stratosphere, so I do think Ottawa will be a viable way to spend up based on projections and whatnot tomorrow. But let's keep moving to Edmonton at Winnipeg. Winnipeg, as you mentioned, just simply doesn't seem to have the juice this year. It is unfortunate. I mean, they were a good team last year, like no doubt about it, and they just ran into Dallas, right? Yeah, they ran into Dallas, and what can you do? They're also a good team, but Edmonton is just, I mean, churning through teams right now like butter. They lost to Calgary coming out of the break, but I mean, they hit like 17 posts in the third period. Like, it was very clear that Calgary was just holding on to their butts, and they succeeded. When McDavid was on the ice, the rest of the team is just dog shit, but we know that, and that's what this Edmonton team is. So any thoughts on Edmonton or Winnipeg at large?
I mean, Edmonton doesn't take long to discuss. I mean, McDavid saw 27 minutes, Draisaitl saw 24 minutes, Hyman saw 23, and Nugent Hopkins saw 20. I mean, that top line plus Draisaitl plays all the fucking time. They play much more in games they're trailing. It gets a little bit less of the McDavid Draisaitl connection when they're winning in games. I mean, they just don't really need to. Both can hold their own water in those scenarios. We haven't seen Roslovic come back to the same type of role, but of course he was on the team when Hyman was out before, and I think Nugent Hopkins missed some time as well. So yeah, it's tougher sledding. Bouchard finally did what I would consider to be I think kind of back-to-back Bouchard games. He has actually 3 in a row box bonuses as well. He's just seeing a ton of ice time in all situations. I mean, Kulak went. Their bottom 3 defensemen are now Stastny, Regula, or Regula. Is it Regula?
Yeah.
Regula and Emberson, like those guys are bad. So like Bouchard, Ekholm, and Nurse are just going to see more all situations. Like Bouchard's killing power plays now is kind of where I'm going with all this. So I just think he's become a bit more valuable. But I don't really think you need to look anywhere else. Like, I guess, is there anything you want to add to that? Or is there one player you're like, you know what? Actually, if you're playing Draisaitl, I would play Roslovic. I would play Podkolzin. Like, is there a guy like that? Or is it just like...
Well, Edmonton changed lines in practice today. So Roslovic is now the third line center. They're just trying to reinforce the bottom 6. It's Podkolzin, Draisaitl, Savoy, and Savoy just is not an NHL caliber fantasy guy at the very least. I don't think he's an NHL player either, but that's neither here nor there. So the bottom 6, if you care: Frederick, Roslovic, Janmark, Lazar, Henrique, Mangiapane. But yeah, still no interest. Nothing there to see. And certainly the Draisaitl McDavid show will continue to roll on. McDavid, 21.4 expected fantasy points last 10 games,
Yeah.
24.8 actuals. Just for some quick context, McKinnon last 10, 17.9 and 20.2. So these two guys are just, I mean, unbelievable, but McDavid is even heads and shoulders above McKinnon, which is crazy.
I mean, over the past 5, McDavid has the most shots on goal of any player in the league, not let alone the slate. It's like it's kind of everything you've wanted to see from him and more all at once. So it's tough not to click it, but I wonder if Winnipeg scares anybody off. I mean, they have not been scary. Hellebuck is back and hasn't looked good. So anything else you want to mention on Edmonton or transition over to Winnipeg?
Nope. Same guys, same stuff for Edmonton, as I always say. For Winnipeg, Connor, Scheifele, Velarde, Perfetti, Nemesnikov, Iafallo, Barron, Lowry, Pearson, Niederreiter, Taze, Nyquist. That's how they played yesterday and how they practiced today. So no expected changes or anything of that sort. And just same sort of milquetoast garbage. I gotta check the power play from last game because I want to say Nyquist wasn't on the top power play, but they've been rotating through that Perfetti spot for a couple weeks now. So not.
Morrissey does sound like day to day. I don't know if I think he'll play, but
yeah, they put Kel Fleury up there. I think they would move. I think they would move things around more if it were truly an issue. So I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, I think he plays as well. I'll say this. I mean, for everything we just said about Edmonton and how they've played and this, that, and the other thing, like I did mention how down the lineup, I mean, the bottom 6 is bad. The defense is not great. I mean, when you're saying Evan Bouchard is playing 30 minutes, that is not a great sign of how great and stout your defensive acumen is going to be. Winnipeg gets the home ice advantage, and I think it matters enough here that I'm kind of considering playing the top line. I'm not going crazy here. There really is nothing else to play, though. I mean, it's not even like you have to really think about this too much. Like, what else would you possibly click on other than the top line in Winnipeg? I mean, that the problem is not Scheifele, Connor, and Velarde. The problem is everybody else absolutely fucking sucks. They went out and gave Jonathan Taves way too much money to be arguably one of the worst on ice players in the league. And I feel bad saying it. I wish it worked out better, but it just didn't. Edmonton's been bad defensively. They've given up quite a lot of volume. Winnipeg doesn't push the volume too much, but getting desperate. I mean, they got to start winning games, and they got to start rolling this top line, top power play as much as they can possibly handle. So I'm not sure if this is a spot I'm going to jump on, but of all the spots we talked about so far, I think it's the one I'm most interested in, given I don't think ownership's going to come in droves.
Yeah, the main problem I have with the Scheifele stuff is, like, I think they throw him out against McDavid, and even if they do throw him out against Draisaitl's been better than McDavid from an on-ice perspective. So, like, I just don't think there's a good matchup there for them. They use Scheifele, they use that line in matchup minutes. They don't use it to pick on depth, basically.
Yeah.
So if you wanted that, I would go Nemesnikov, Perfetti, personally. IXL, I follow, notwithstanding, but yeah, you just don't need to do that, I don't think, on this slate. So it's really tough to sort of figure out what makes sense here. So I think it's just Edmonton or nothing for me.
Fair enough.
If Josh Morrissey misses, Neil Pionk is an auto Uber smash, 3,500 Neil Pionk.
Yeah.
I don't think the second power play is good enough to really warrant Pionk being a great play, but he's a guy that I like, generally speaking. So to see him at 3,500 for 20 minutes is interesting. But I think, apples to apples, if Josh Morrissey's in, I like a guy like Nikishin more than Neil Pionk, who I think, is like a lesser version of what I view Nikishin as. Let's get to the main event. We've all been waiting for. The return of Rasmus Dahlin from Christmas break. Don't worry about it. It's fine. He's going to take a couple extra days to celebrate Christmas. Because when you're playing for the best team in the NHL, you just get to celebrate harder, DJ. That's really, I think, what I learned this past week is that anything involved with the Buffalo Sabres is the greatest, it is the best, and it will always be the greatest and the best. So Buffalo heads into St. Louis. How do you feel about the Buffalo Sabres?
I mean, it doesn't get too much better. I like, let's start by setting the table here with the Sabres and say that, I think it's kind of funny is like, as they've been winning, I feel like it's been tougher. I don't know. Maybe the answer is like less fluid as far as the lineup is with, like, I feel like earlier when they were kind of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what would stick, it felt very like, oh, okay, well now we have this kind of setup right here. Like, this is obviously where you go. And as they've won, it feels like all of the best players have sort of spread out through three lines. The power plays spread out through three lines. There's only the one correlation of Thompson Doan. I mean, you can go Dahlin with anybody. And again, Dahlin, we already, he was truly not injured. Like, he was with his fiance in Sweden, who is getting over what sounds to be quite the terrible, medical event that's finally coming to an end. But who do you pair him with? It is not easy. None of these players are shooting a metric ton because they are winning most of these games and they're holding the lead. That all of the shots are pretty spread out. Like, everyone's doing their part. There's no one that I think is miles above anybody else. Like, Josh Norris has been good, but his volume is incredibly low. He's not a 5-on-5 shooter anyways. We know it comes through the power play. Benson, McLeod, Quinn, like, that line is really fucking cheap. I think that's where I want to go here, but they're not getting a ton of run. I mean, they're getting some power play time, and both units saw more run without Dahlin in the mix, but I don't think that's going to last. Like, I think the top unit will be the top unit. So I think it's punt with McLeod, Quinn, and Benson, but not clicking Tage Thompson. I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts? I feel like I'm giving a lot of non-answers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a matchup on the road with St. Louis. It's not gonna be an important question of like, oh, well, who do you play here? Because the answer is probably nobody. If they have a 3.2 team total, like, is that moving the needle for people? Maybe. I'm stubbornly just playing Jack Quinn because I think he's honestly the best, most reliable sub 4K player that I've come across, like, across the league pretty much over the last little stretch. He just is doing stuff constantly. I'm a little bit surprised that, like, the per game numbers just don't really seem to reflect that, because every time I play him, he scores or, puts up 12 points. He just grinds it out for me. So, maybe I'm just getting lucky, but that is what it is. You're right, though, that they're spreading stuff out. There's no perfectly correlated stuff. And the prices are going up because, believe it or not, as teams have success, their prices will go up due to said success. So, like, Dahlin plus Quinn, I mean, it's not perfectly correlated, obviously, but that's probably what I would do if I was forced to play Buffalo Sabres. But Thompson.
I think, and
tough.
No, never mind. I'm not even gonna say. I agree. I mean, I think that there's some decent punts on this slate. Quinn is definitely in the upper echelons of those punts. I mean, we've talked about a few of them. Some of them we're not positive on yet, but Quinn is up there. It just sucks to be like, the Sabres team has won 9 or 8 in a row, has been going for 9 in a row. The Blues are not very good. But then again, I don't think the Blues are a team that you want to pick on. Like, they don't score is their problem. And it's not that they're giving up, touchdowns every night. They just can't score. They do get reinforcements. Jake Neighbors, Thomas Busnevich, top line. It sounds like a real top line in this league. The second line isn't exactly perfect without Holloway, but with Kyrou and Shen, at least it's a formidable second line. Stenberg does not profile to be a prolific DFS asset, but could be a good puck mover to help that line do what it needs to do. And again, there are some punts on this team. Berggren's gone. Is Berggren not in the lineup anymore?
He's not playing. No, they practiced today.
They practiced today. I thought he was on the third line, but I guess that is wrong. It's Snuggerud, Dvorsky, and Robbie Fabry. Okay. I mean, I'm not ultra interested here. Like, I do think the Sabres are a tougher matchup than I want to target, but is there anything here that you're interested in?
No, there is absolutely nothing here that I'm interested in. Pia Suter is also hurt, if that matters for anyone. But just don't play St. Louis here, and I think we'll all be happier. Jordan Kyrou's back. He had a decent game. He's 5,100, so that's the best price, I think, of anyone in this game. 25% better than the league average forward in terms of generating DK points per minute and 60% better shot attempts. That shot attempt number is right in line with past seasons. The point rate is way down, which means the DK point rate is way down. But he's still doing his part. It's just the team around him that sucks. Unfortunately, I don't think Stenberg and Shen are the answer to said riddle.
Okay.
Boston heads into Calgary. They practice today. Geeky, Lindholm, Steves, Middlestat, Zaka, Arvidsson, Kuznetsov, Minton, Pasternak. I don't know what the second power play will look like, but Fraser Minton has been playing second power play time, and David Pasternak is David Pasternak for 8,000 against the Calgary Flames. Far be it from me to tell you that this is not the first time I have recommended playing players against the Calgary Flames, but my God, do I love getting Fraser Minton with David Pasternak and just saying, yes, I will play McDavid plus Oilers plus this mini stack. So showing my hand a bit early, but we're basically just getting cheaper upside out of Minton. And I do think the upside's there. We've seen it from him across his juniors and, AHL time. And I think that this is kind of a reward for Minton. I mean, I don't know if it's as much that as it is like, yeah, Elias Lindholm sucks. Like we gotta do something to figure this out because David Pasternak is withering away on this team. But again, I think Minton's a guy who will elevate Pasta in the future. So let's see it now and let them work out the kinks. It's a good matchup to do so, even though they're going against Backlund Coleman. I think that this up-tempo environment is sort of going to be nice for Minton Pasta.
Yeah, and I would be, as we mentioned with Ovi, you're like, oh, they don't really get like if Pasternak, if the second unit gets on the ice, Pasternak will probably stay. It's not quite as hard and fast, but I think it will likely be the case that Pasternak is staying on the ice with Fraser Minton, if they can allow that to happen. So I'm in on it. Minton goes from the fourth line to tentatively the first line. We've seen this before. It has worked. I do think he's a very talented player. I don't think I have any other interest in anything else in Boston. I'm just not a Morgan Geeky guy. I know there's people that will, and I will even say this. I drafted quite a bit of him in Best Buck. I drafted him on my season-long dynasty team. It's gone swimmingly. I couldn't be happier with the man, but like 6,500, I'm not playing him, on the slate. Just not a guy that I like to click on in DFS. If he kills me, he kills me. I think more often than not, he is going to end up with a wonderful 3 points. And not with Pasternak, no thanks at all.
All right. Mason Lowry, 2,700. That price just bothers me. But on we go.
Me too, but yeah. Well, as soon as they get the lead, he just sits on the bench and never moves. But will they?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, because it's like on the year, he's an average shooter, same as the past. Yep. And then all of a sudden, his point rate just skyrocketed this year. He's actually doing stuff. And they're like, hey, why don't you play fewer minutes than before? It's like, oh, okay. Great idea. Well, let's keep doing that. So, Calgary side, they reconfigured their power play last game. So, Kadri, Sharangovich, Coleman, Huberdeau, Anderson. So that means Sharangovich, Kadri, Farabee has 2 power play pieces. And then Zari, Backlund, Coleman has only Coleman on a power play unit. And that's a top unit. Yep. And then Huberdeau, Frost, Coronado has just one guy with Frost, Coronado on the second unit. So a bit of a change there, especially for the Matt Coronado faithful among us. I would advise against that thing. But hey, what can I say? It's Boston. Coronado played at Harvard? Or was he a Boston guy?
I think Harvard's right. I think Harvard's right. You look it up, or
I'm looking it up. It's tough to click things too quickly. Okay. somehow still not to it yet.
Very interesting.
Yep, Harvard. Great job. Great job by me.
Great job by you. I agree. Yeah, that doesn't take long to talk about the Flames ever. They are very bad. They have two defensemen that do quite a bit of what you want for fantasy goodness. One of them is named Rasmus Anderson. The other is named Mackenzie Weegar. They block a ton of shots. They're walking double bonuses. We talk about it every time we talk about them. Blake Coleman is a guy. He does have some level of rate stats, and he scored last game. I mean, he played 20 minutes. I don't know if he's someone I'm going to go to the mat for, but I'm at the very least interested in, I think that line is good. Like, Backlund's been good. I don't know why he's not getting any power play role at all. That kind of stinks, but I kind of like that second line a little bit. I don't think I'm going to play it, but I wouldn't call you an idiot for playing Backlund and Coleman.
Yeah, and if you think I'm an idiot for liking Pasta Minton, then, I mean, that's going to be the line that matches up against him. So you can have my breakfast and eat it too, I guess, if you will, because you can just say, you're an idiot, Moods. I'm playing Backlund Coleman, and they've actually been very good together. They've been productive fantasy-wise, and they're going to play minutes. As long as Pasta's on the ice, they'll be out there. So an interesting angle, I think.
Yeah, don't hate it. We can, keep it moving. We have a few more games to get to, and one that's going to be, I think, very interesting to many is the Kings and the Colorado Avalanche. The Jim Hillers continue to Jim Hiller things up. It worked last game. Against the Ducks, they just absolutely, took the belt to them 6-1. I believe they scored very early and just never let up. But Ferrier, hat trick, what are you going to do if the goat's going to go? They ran 2 power plays, and I couldn't really tell you. I know Matt they did distinguish one from the other as a top unit and a second unit, but they both played pretty even minutes.
It turns out that when you make an A unit and a B unit, and the guy on the A unit scores a hat trick, but the B unit is the one who scores on the power play, I'm going to call that B unit the B unit, or the number one unit, because the coach literally said, hey, they need to score, and they'll go out first. And one of the units did score, and it was Quentin Byfield who scored. So I think Byfield,
they
Clark,
almost
Fiala
put together the right power play. They almost did it. They almost put together their best power play, and it worked. Perry net front, Fiala and Clark kind of, manning the upper echelon, Kuzmenko and Byfield in the middle. If they just put Kempe where Kuzmenko was, it'd be perfect. But you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. You want to put Kuzmenko there? Have at it. It worked.
Sure.
I couldn't agree more. It's the best iteration of the power play, and they have the best iteration of a 5-on-5 line with Kempe and Laferriere, and you don't really need to play Kopitar. He's just not very fantasy relevant in that game where his line mate went for a bazillion and 4, I believe. It was his fight. I think what did he finish? I'm trying to do the math in my head. It had to have been 38, 40 points did Laferriere have. He had like 7 shots on goal. Kopitar did have 3 assists, 1 shot.
Yeah, Kopitar had like the 19.5 minimum, I'm pretty sure. And Laferriere had a 40 bomb.
Yeah, like you almost could not have had less. 43.3. Okay. Like it's pretty impressive. But you know what? Like the point being is that like Kopitar has almost never come along for the ride in a way that you had to have it. And that's the closest I think you're going to get to had to have it for him. You just don't need to click the button there. But anything you want to say about this whole whatever the fuck this team is? I mean, because their 5-on-5 lands are also just a mess.
No, I mean, I don't have anything I want to add to this. So
they are playing Colorado.
They are playing Colorado on the road. I think Brandt Clark is an interesting play because, if he's getting 60% of the power play work, then that's interesting. But yeah, Byfield doesn't have good line mates, and there's there's only so much you can do.
Sorry, just taking notes over here. Okay.
Yes, you'll be surprised that the Moinsky podcast mentioned such a thing. Colorado practice: Landeskog, McKinnon, Nachos, Lehkonen, Nelson, Nichushkin. That's only interesting because Nichushkin and Nachos flipped for, I think, most of Saturday. So I don't know if that was a matchup thing or what, but it is what it is. Colton, Drury, Olafson is their third line. They move Brindley down to the fourth line with Kiviranta and Parker Kelly. Sam Malinsky, 2,800, 8.6 expected fantasy points per game, 7.7 actual. I mean, the rates are just off the chart for this dude.
Yep.
He's not quite Kel McCarr levels of good per minute, but he's awfully damn close. And it's crazy that Colorado just gets like two of these guys. And, like it doesn't seem fair, actually, but it is what it is. McKinnon, very good, 9,900. That top line, 21.2K. Nate Choss at 6,400, I think is almost a must play if you play McKinnon at this price. Nate Choss has been very good over the last stretch and is actually getting results too. Landeskog has been a bit snake bitten, but I would argue that's, Landeskog not being uber talented at this stage. So I would prefer Nate Choss straight up for 1,500 more than Landeskog. And if you want to play both, go for it. But it's tough. It's tough when they're that expensive. So any Colorado thoughts from you?
I mean, I've kind of been knocking at the door of like, man, Nate Choss is getting cheap. He's getting real cheap. And you just keep being like, not cheap enough, not cheap enough, not cheap. 6,400 feels like enough. Top line, top power play sticking. It's just like, yeah, it's enough. If you're playing McKinnon, you throw him in, you throw in Landeskog, you play them all. I mean, you're not getting McCarr probably, but beggars can't be choosers. I honestly think I'm not playing Colorado tomorrow, all things considered. Like, I still respect LA. I don't respect their coach, but I don't think this version of them is one I want to go, crazy attacking. Like, I still think they're pretty healthy and they're a solid enough team that they might not give up the slate winner. Like, I'm just more interested in probably Edmonton stuff than I am Colorado, and I'm not even that interested in Edmonton. So I might not end up with the the punts and McKinnons of the world.
Punts and McKinnons, an interesting craft store, I think, for someone out there to start.
Okay. Knickknacks and
Samson wants to click the mouse, so here
Smart.
we go. Nashville at Utah. I know I've said that Utah has been more interesting of late, but oh my god, I can't imagine wanting to play this game here. So I didn't see anything new from Nashville. I know they won their most recent game, so let's take a quick look at that game. They lost to St. Louis. My God, I'm a fool. It was St. Louis that beat them. No changes to the lines, it looks like. So, remains to be seen what actually will look like in this matchup. So, there's nothing here that I want to play though. Like, just
no.
I mean,
yeah, not on the Nashville side, unfortunately. I mean, I have wade in those waters. They're waters I'm going to stay out of, I think, on Monday, but the top line is all correlated. Roman Josi is, I think at the end of the day, like, and I keep saying, like, man, it feels like Roman Josi might, but like, he's the same price as Chikrin. Like, I just don't know what you're doing if you're clicking on Roman Josi, and the numbers have looked a little better. He's hit a shots bonus here and he's hit a blocks bonus there, and he's just not the same guy. So I'm not playing him. I mean, if you're going all the way in, I guess you're going all the way in. It'll probably be like Vanacek and net for Utah as Vizmelka's day to day. Vanacek hasn't won a game since before Halloween, so not great.
Are we sure Vizmelka's out?
Nah, we're not sure.
Okay, because he missed like one game before the holiday, and I think he'll be back. They didn't play on Saturday or Sunday, so they've had 5 days off.
And I am interested in Utah, so why don't we move over to the Mammoth, as you love the name. So,
okay. Yes, it is the best name. The Utah Hockey Club. I didn't actually. They must have practiced. Did I not click through their team? I mean, they've had 2 days of doing nothing. Maybe they had extra Christmas. I don't know. So let's see. They make any changes?
Yeah, they were probably just drinking freaking dirty sodas and talking about what's his name? John Smith?
Nevertheless, Ryan Smith.
No, Ryan Smith is the owner. I'm trying to think of the guy from the Mormon religion.
Oh, John Smith. Yeah.
It's John Smith. Yeah. I was making more Utah jokes.
I saw no lines in a quick scroll.
Yeah,
So
I'm
there you go.
still scrolling too. I'm seeing nothing.
There's not much to look at. They're still on vacation in beat writer land.
5 days ago, here are Utah's lines in Colorado. Well, then they played Colorado. Believe they did they win?
It was a 1-0 win for Colorado. I remember that
Colorado.
game.
That's right. I have not seen anything. Goaltender Vizmelka will not be available. We know. I mean, I've gone back that far at this point. So,
Great.
Yeah, not
Keller,
a whole
Schmaltz, Peterka, Kraus, Hayton, Gunther, Boot, McBain, Carconi, Kerfoot, Stenland, O'Brien. This Boot, McBain, Carconi line stands out only because there's a tinge of blue in your expected fantasy point range. So 23 expected fantasy points for this line per game last 10 and 8.4K price tag on it. That's interesting. That's almost 3x their salary. Obviously, it's super duper cheap, but if only this were a slate where, we had uber expensive guys to jam in, I think you could get away with something along those lines. I think you would want to play a Sean Dursey with it. 3,900 Dursey's been awesome. Doing all the stuff. He's basically now a better straight up fantasy defenseman than Mikhail Sergachev. And that's while considering Sergachev still has a stranglehold in the top power play for some reason. The power play's not been very good. Peterka's back to being JJ Peterka, which is to say not very good. I don't know. Like Dylan Gunther seems awesome, but the cheap guys are what really does it for me, I think, more so than the top line or any of the expensive pieces on Utah, because this Nashville matchup does not worry me whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I honestly, I kind of like the idea of playing Gunther, maybe even just as a one-off. I don't know. I'm gonna really think this one over, but I feel like Gunther. I'm not sure if I want to overstack Utah, but I could see myself with more than 2 Utah pieces. I wonder about playing Dursey, Gunther. Again, we have to make sure the lineup doesn't change there. Of course, they should practice tomorrow, we hope. So in case anything is changing over the holiday break, we'll definitely want to get eyes on that first. But I do. Oh man, this is tough. I want to play Utah and I just don't know how to do it. I mean, it's Gunther, Keller, just play them. Maybe Schmaltz. Just leave Peterka out of it. It kind of feels silly, but yeah, I'm gonna have to think about this.
I don't think leaving JJ Peterka out of anything is silly.
Yeah, I don't really want to play an overpriced Sergachev. So maybe Dursey. I mean, Dursey's just kind of doing everything: shooting, blocking, getting points. Just not getting the top power play is the only negative to his game. But shooting on that second unit, and I really don't hate the idea of stacking in that second unit, hoping that Daniil Boot gets a goal on that. Dursey kind of shooting. I'm guessing he's playing more of a net front role. Where is he playing on the power play? Do you know where he's at?
Well, Kraus is not front, so I think he's in the Gunther role on the right side or the left side, but
yeah. His 2 shots in the Colorado game on the power play were like sort of middle and tight. So
okay.
I don't know. I'll have to honestly try to look for that next time if I watch tomorrow.
Yeah. Good time to get some scouting done. The old Nashville at Utah game. Just people are lining up to watch them for all sorts.
I just hope the streaming service isn't shut down because of how much traffic's flowing through that game.
True.
That's the big concern I have. Okay, we can move on. 3 games left. San Jose, Anaheim. It's time for the Donkey Fest. Macklin Zolabrini is doing just everything and more in this world. William Eklund is, again, talking about guys over the last 5 games. that, well, first off, that won me a lot of money. We talked about William Eklund, but that are shooting a ton. William Eklund is also making that list. Like, taking the last 5 games, William Eklund has 26 shots on goal, 7.6 attempts per game. So almost 70% of the shots are getting on net, but a lot of them are coming in tight. He finally scored on one of them, and really, he scored is a little bit of a incorrect statement because he kind of swatted at the puck, and then the Vancouver guy's like, let me tap that in for you, buddy. Thank you, by the way, because that helped me win a lot of money.
No,
but
that shot, that goal didn't even count as a shot, by the way.
It didn't, because the Vancouver guy hit it in. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. You made so many fucking bets hit yesterday that actually did win you a lot of money because it was part of both of your fucking winning bullshit bets. Forgot about
Bingo,
that.
brother. He was in my goal bet, and
Jesus
it was
Christ.
not luck that won that bet.
While we are on that, I gotta pull it. I don't even think you know this happened, DJ.
I'm sure I do.
Saul. I mean, we all know Saul. Saul in the chat.
Saul
in every Discord in the world. He hit the most tilting goal bet that I've ever seen. He put yours to shame, by the way, DJ. Absolute coward.
I don't think. Okay, all right, never mind. I want to see that.
Let me just read.
Okay,
let me just read these 4 players that scored yesterday that made him win. $3,500 on 5, and then he won a bunch more in round robins and shit. McMahon, Laferriere, Alex Holtz, Chernyshov.
Jesus Christ.
How did I not win all the money yesterday?
Yeah. Chernyshov's goal too was just this perfect little backdoor power play to Taparuni.
I mean, it was nice. Yeah, awesome. I mean, just awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So for San Jose, they did move Eklund to the top line. Chernyshov, Celebrini, Eklund, Graf with Wenberg and Toffoli. I did not check the bottom 6. I do not particularly care about the bottom 6 because this is a Igor Chernyshov podcast. I mean, Celebrini's just been awesome. There's really no disputing that. 19.2 expected fantasy points last 10 games, 17.6 actual. That's 8,700, so 1,000 less than McKinnon, McDavid. It's not nothing considering the state of the slate, but certainly certainly wouldn't stack, without Celebrini if you're stacking San Jose. But I will say, I kind of feel like we are starting to figure out this Anaheim team, and they're very yin and yang. They sort of alternate between good game, bad game, good game, bad game. And boy, there is exactly, in my opinion, one reason for that. DJ, can you guess the reason?
The reason for good game, bad game?
Yep.
Is this a real thing or is this a made up moods thing?
I think it's a real thing, but it is also a made up moods thing that I've written about nonstop.
Is it? Wait, what? Is it like a home away thing? What the hell are you getting at?
Nope. Anaheim. Let me just read their decor in practice today. Jackson Lacombe, Ian Moore, Olin Zellweger, Jacob Trouba, Pavel Minchikov, Radko Gudas. Anything stand out to you, DJ?
Hellison and Ian Moore.
Bang. New Drew Hellison.
Okay, that's weird. Okay, that's what you mean. Okay, I was like, I don't understand.
Joel Quenneville just treats this decor as a hot stove. And anytime he puts Drew Hellison in, they get torched. They just out hot. And then he pulls it away. And then he goes, well, it can't be that bad, right? And then he puts Drew Hellison in. And it's been like this for 2 weeks now. Literally every other game, Drew Hellison goes in, they get fucking blasted. So this time, this is what I think their decor should be for the rest of the season, by the way. Lacombe, Ian Moore, hook it to my veins. Ian Moore, I think, is a ton of fun. Zellweger, Trouba, yep, they were really good at the start of the season. The only reason it got broken up was because Drew Hellison. And then Minchikov Gudas has been fine. They're a third pair, though. You don't need them to crush minutes or whatever, and they still probably will if they truly get third pair minutes. So I'm not playing San Jose on the road. I'm ready to be burned by the hot stove Celebrini. He feels like that's me. It's just me like, I don't need to play Celebrity. And it's just every time because Celebrity's awesome. But at these prices, at what I expect to be ownership, I just don't particularly care for it. Anything else though for you on San Jose?
Nothing else in San Jose. I mean,
Okay.
top liner bust. I mean, Toffoli's been
Yeah.
really good as well. If you wanted to one-off him, or even in a Celebrini Eklund like top power play situation, I wouldn't call you an idiot. On the Anaheim side, did they go back to Cutter top power play? Because Mason McTavish scored there last game.
They broke everything up, so I did not update it based on yesterday. I didn't see anything from practice today, so I just went with what I thought it could be.
Yeah. I mean, Mason McTavish scored in the top power play. It was Lacombe, McTavish, Seneca, Granlund, and Leo. So maybe there was something to that. I believe it was pretty late in the game, and maybe it was just random nonsense they were trying. I have no idea. And a game where you're losing 6-1, and
it was already 4-1 at that point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I believe that was.
I'll just update it for the fucking for the hell of it. And then
Cutter and Kreider were 2 with Zolliger and Truba, and no one else, it looks like, actually shows up, but it was probably somebody, whoever you want.
How would anyone have played
Gotta
on
be
the power?
Terry.
That was because it was the end of a 4-on-4 shift, so that's not a real unit, I don't think. So
probably Troy Terry then, maybe not Truba.
Yeah. Good point. Okay. Frank Vetrano got hurt last game. Did not practice today. The way they aligned, I do not expect him to play, but if he does play, it's where Nikita Nesterenko is. So they went Kreider, Carlson, Granlund, Gauthier, McTavish, Seneca, Nesterenko, Paling, Terry, and Johnston, Strome, Killorn. It could also be Vetrano in for Ross Johnson, I suppose. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Only thing it really does is hurt Troy Terry, who has been fine, but certainly not anyone that I'm, crying about losing. Seneca now is 4,500 and McTavish is 4,200. That seems wrong. Yep. I like McTavish, especially if we get confirmation of the power play units. Cutter's fallen off, which is unfortunate, but
he was running so hard. This is literally the start of last year for Cutter all over again, where he is doing everything and he's just not scoring.
11 expected fantasy points per game is not
for 7,500.
We're dealing with guys in the fucking 20s.
Obviously in a matchup against San Jose, it just doesn't really matter. I think it's second line or nothing for me for Anaheim. And I am going to consider it. I don't think it's going to be as chalky as it could be just because Cutter's price is prohibitive and he has not been great. But we're talking about a guy that has, 10 shot on goal upside. I don't know. I am considering Anaheim too for absolute sure, especially with the power play roles coming together as they are. If Cutter isn't on there, that does suck. But I think he could be, first over the boards. He's, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I like Anaheim too. I like San Jose 1. Those are 2 that are definitely absolutely making my mix no matter what.
Yeah, I'm looking at the defensemen, trying to find something, but the shots, the blocks really aren't there for any of them. So I don't know if I'm willing to pay these prices for Anaheim defensemen either. So
playing 6K for Jackson Lacombe.
He was who I was trying to make an argument for, because he's genuinely been very good this year. He's not the player he was last year that I was, anti. He's shooting. But I don't know that 6K makes a ton of sense unless we get something more concrete of, hey, you can play McTavish with Lacombe and they're definitely on the top power player. Something of that sort is what I would be looking for. But yeah, I like Anaheim, and with no Drew Hellison, that makes me not like San Jose very much. And yeah, I know that's in line with the field, but I'm not I just kind of prefer to I go with what I believe rather than trying to figure out what the field's going to do and then react based off of that. So Vancouver, heading into Seattle, they are healthy scratching Jake DeBrusk. kudos for that, because I mean this entire team's not getting it done, but Jake DeBrusk especially has been rough out there, so that's fine. They practiced Evander Kane, Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, Liam Ogren, Marco Rossi, Connor Garland, O'Connor, Ratu, Sherwood, Hoglander, Sasson, Carlson. D pairs all remain the same: Marcus Pettersson, Hronik, Zeev, Myers, Elias Pettersson, Tom Melander. Yeah, I mean, these forward lines don't really do it for me. We also don't know the power play. So, like, Jake DeBrusk was on the top power play. I think it just goes to Connor Garland. But, yeah, any thoughts on Vancouver here?
I mean, it is, it is pretty tough out there. I mean, they have just been getting worked in every aspect. I mean, the San Jose Sharks put the boots to them themselves. Like, the expected goals numbers bear out the 6-3 loss. I have a really tough time clicking it, but a back-to-back Seattle team is one that I don't mind going after. So I think what I'm planning on doing is, number one, I'd like to see a power play unit, but if it comes together, like, I am considering Elias Pettersson. I think he's the only player on this team worth, any consideration as far as upside is concerned. He is playing 20 plus minutes. He is shooting. And I think him, Kane, and Besser is an actual, top line in this league, and everything else is just sort of, not necessary. I think Zeev Buium is in consideration, but even though it's a back-to-back, I kind of am considering Seattle on the other side of it more, just because of how bad Vancouver's been. It just doesn't feel like it's actually going to get better. Like, yeah, they're benching, one of their better players. It's like, oh, now we're considering them, and it's like, I freaking guess, like, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I played fucking Vancouver 2 on the late slate yesterday, so ask me how I feel about that. Marco Rossi just taking baseball swings out here to make sure you win your fucking parlay. Like, just,
it's very kind of him, to be entirely honest.
Yeah, I mean, that goal scoring attitude is really what I'm, rostering him for. That second line being 12.2K, like, I think it's one of Garland or Ogren who go on the top unit. Like, if it's Kiefer Sherwood, then it's all just fucking, out the window. But Evander Kane doesn't really play the same role DeBrusk does. So I would feel good about getting 2 power play pieces. I really don't want to play a back-to-back Seattle team with their decor. I'll be honest. I just, how do they punish me? I don't know. I mean, but then the question is, how does Vancouver really punish you? And that's a great question. So we'll see. I don't know. Also, I'm looking in Eli Tolvanen, 2 goals and assists, 4 shots. Like, what a goat. What a goat that guy is. So let's just get over to Seattle.
Let's get over there. I mean, it's very imperfect. I would love for something to be neat and cohesive here. I think, the top line is Beniers, Eberle, and Kako. I'm not interested, but of course, Eberle has kind of been the only true stable force, on this team as the whole season long, and continues to not be priced like a guy that's been useful. 4,200, it just feels too cheap for him, especially as he's played pretty well as of late. Before the break, he was really playing quite well. Beniers is probably, all things considered, a useful player in the league. Yeah, that's all I get to say there. Line 2 has been the best line, though. Chandler Stevenson has been very good. He plays a ton of minutes, as we complain, but he plays with Eli Tolvanen, who has goal scoring upside. So there's a line there, and then the third line is the most fun. The circus line. You have Jared McCann, who is back from injury again, finally, hopefully to stay, who looked very good before he got hurt again. He's playing with Berkeley Catton and Shane Wright. Shane Wright, 3K. Doesn't play a lot of minutes. Berkeley Catton is, I think, even cheaper than that. Where is he? 2,500 minimum salary. Also doesn't play many minutes. And then you have, McCann on the top power play. I don't think there's any piece of this that I feel the strongest on, but a lot of these pieces feel fine on their own. So what are your thoughts?
God, everything in my head's going, oh, Shane Wright, Jared McCann, but I know they're going to play
Yeah.
12 minutes here. So what's the point? Eberle, 4,200 is actually interesting. He's just good. Say this every podcast. He scored again on Sunday night. I'm looking at the minutes real quick. Tolvanen 18, Stevenson 18, Eberle 16, McCann 13, Wright 13. So yeah, that's about what I would expect. Vince Dunn oddly comes in below 20 minutes, just barely, but still below 20 minutes. I do not understand how that's even possible given the state of this blue line, but it is. So here we are. Yeah, I just can't play Seattle on a back-to-back. Like, I just refuse to do it. I don't care about the matchup. Vancouver is the worst team in the league. Like, statistically, I just don't care. Like, I would so much rather play Anaheim when Mason McTavish is 4,200, like the exact same price as any of the Seattle guys I would be talking about.
I think that's fair. I mean, you definitely don't have to do it. They suck, and they're on a back-to-back, and this game is horrendous. So if the Slate winner isn't in there, that makes sense. And I do think that people will look to this Seattle team because of how bad Vancouver's been. Maybe there's a bet in here worth placing, but I don't know if there's a DFS winner that I'm afraid that I'm going to miss out on. So I agree. We can move on to the final game if there's a last thought you have.
Nope. Minnesota at Vegas. Minnesota trying to have they played this year since the playoff series last year? Now that's a question.
No idea.
That is a good question. Probably. Top of my head, probably not, because I feel like I would have talked about this by now. But just thinking back to that playoff series and thinking, damn, if only they had a Quinn Hughes, I think Minnesota wins that series easily. So Vegas without Shea Theodore, without Jack Eichel, I think this is really an interesting spot for Minnesota. Kaprizov is 8,100. Like we talked about Pasta earlier. Like, I mean, this is 2,000 less.
November 16th.
Damn it.
Minnesota won 3-2.
Perfect. The narrative is back on. Now think of how many goals they would have scored if they had a Quinn Hughes at that point. At least 7. 4, right?
I don't hate the idea.
I told you Minnesota scores 4 goals here, you're probably signing up for an 8,100 Kirill Kaprizov is my guess. I do not think this spot gets any ownership whatsoever.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, Vegas is a wounded animal right now without Eichel, without Theodore. Like, they're playing fine because they're still a good hockey team, but I think this Minnesota team is a top 5 team in the league. So like, I'm interested to see if the field, gloms onto a 15.7K top line in Minnesota. Yep. You can play Matt Boldy and Quinn Hughes on top of that top line if you really want to, and still play a decent player. Like, you don't need to play 4 2,500 guys, or minimum goalie plus 2,500 guys. Like, you can overstack Minnesota and be just fine. I'm very interested in that. Zuccarello has not been good. No other way to slice it, but like, the price reflects that at 4,100. And he's still connected at the hip to Kirill Kaprizov. So I'm selling myself on Minnesota. DJ, are you going to pour some cold water on it, or are you also interested here?
No, Minnesota was always going to be one of my favorite spots on this slate. I feel like it's just going to get completely overlooked. And maybe it won't. I mean, maybe one of the cards will turn over tomorrow and we'll look like idiots. But Vegas, not Vancouver, Jesus Christ. Vegas has not been good defensively. It's not very surprising why. They just do not have the same team that started the year. Will they be getting back Eichel soon? Will they be getting back Shea Theodore soon? You hope so. I don't think Eichel has any chance. No, it's already reported he is definitely out for this game. I think Theodore skated, but I don't think can return yet. It's close. It is getting close to where he can come off IR, but I don't think it's ready yet, right?
I mean, he was called week to week a week ago, so I don't think Theodore's close, but we'll see.
I don't think I know that there was something I read somewhere. Maybe he was just skating on his own, and it was sort of like an Adam Fox situation. Like, when is it?
He didn't get put on IR until right before the holiday break, so that might be what you're thinking of.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Regardless, it's just it's a good Vegas team. It's not a great Vegas team. I think this game is interesting. Really, kind of on both ends, but more so, I like Minnesota. But I mean, I don't think we need to go into too much detail. There's 4 guys that, in some iteration of Kaprizov, Boldy, and Quinn Hughes. Could you throw in an Erickson at 5,800? I don't think you're wrong if you do that with Boldy and Quinn Hughes. Could you throw in Zuccarello with Hartman? Of course, with other price tags, there's nothing wrong with it. I like Zuccarello quite a bit at 4,100. I do think that as he's staying healthy, he's going to see 20 minutes of ice time. And, if Kaprizov is giga smashing, he can certainly come along for the ride.
Yeah. Let's get to Vegas at the end because I just realized the show's been going on for an hour 25. That's crazy. Yeah. We are really good at this. Barbashev, Marner, Stone, Dorofeyev, Hurdle, Holtz, Riley Smith, Howden, Bowman, Saad, Sissons, Kolasar. Did they win last game? Yeah, because Holtz won it Holtz went in the shootout and they lost to Colorado. That's right. Okay. My brain is now returning to function. What I was going to complain about is Alex Holtz with Dorofeyev and Hurdle is just getting all of the work, all of the run. He's good now, and the coaches respect that. And I'm somehow still terrible at hockey gambling. I don't know. Holtz is, you talk about like the pantheon of Morning Skate podcasts slap beat him, and it is Alex Holtz and then maybe Daniel Sprong. But like there is nobody we've gone to the mat for more often than Alex Holtz, and he has never come through for us. And so I saw him play his first game and he played 18 minutes for Vegas. And I'm like, well, surely that's not happening. And he comes out against Colorado and has a goal, an assist, 2 shots, and plays 19 fucking minutes. Alex Holtz. This is the guy. This is the guy we were promised. So he's 2,800. You were unintelligible. Please.
I said he is the chosen one. Continue.
Yes, I have chosen him to be the best hockey player alive, and I honestly thought he might have been Daniel Sprong's line mate in the KHL by now. But nope, here he is. back in. Actually, sorry, Daniel Sprong doesn't have a line because he just
doesn't have a line. I was thinking the same
piece of shit. Anyway,
Dylan Sprong himself.
Yes, the Dorofeyev, Hurdle, Holtz line annoys me. I don't think they'll be played on this slate, so it doesn't really matter. But they've all been good. Dorofeyev, Hurdle obviously have been good. That line stack is 13.9K.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might just play a game stack of Minnesota Vegas and call it a night because this is just infuriating. But DJ, any thoughts here?
First and foremost, I want to say that Braden Bowman was on the second power play, so unless they changed that in practice, it was not Riley Smith, it was Braden Bowman, and I just know that you like to disrespect your, Braden Bowman as much as possible. So I did want to point that out before we got into too much more.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, the Dorofeyev Hurdle Holtz line is great. I don't have any problems with it at all. I don't know why. I get why you don't like it because it kind of feels like putting a hat on a hat a little bit. Like, why not spread that wealth a little bit? Like, maybe Marner with one of those 2 more prolific goal scorers feels a little bit better, but I'm not Bruce Cassidy yet. They have not called me into coach. I wouldn't mind that swap if they were like, you know what, Hurdle, Holtz, Marner, or Stone, but they're forcing Marner into that the center spot. Now, with all that being said, like, I think most of this Vegas feels a little bit too cheap. I just don't think I'm all that interested in stacking against Minnesota, but gun to head, I think that having a bring back or maybe even like a game stack here is totally fine. So I don't know what that looks like because I want to include a center because I want to play like Boldy, Kaprizov, Zuccarello, which is all wingers. It gets a little bit hairy. I might just leave off the Vegas entirely, but I definitely like all the Holtz stock. It's a good game, and there's not that many games that look, must have like insanely good. This is one of them. There's two at the end of the night that I feel like are really good with San Jose, Anaheim, and Minnesota, Vegas. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to play this slate. It's a good one.
It is. It is. I wish I could rationalize several bullets on this slate, because it does feel like a lineup or a night where I have a few potential lineups in mind that I really like. So I'll be interested to sort of parse through things tomorrow and take a better look at what my final end product will be. Let's do guaranteed top stacks, guaranteed goals. Shout out to Dwayne Darville here, who just found this show. Love y'all. I'm sorry you had to sit through an hour and a half of what you love, but hey, sometimes overexposure is the best way to cure a habit. So, DJ, do you have a top stack for us?
Yep, I was just looking through our guarantee goals last time. We're 1 for 4, so we're due for positive regression. Top stack for me, I mean, I do think tomorrow I'm going to end up with two of the, I'll call them mid-tier stacks. I'm not going to probably go with anything that's, I think I'm fading McDavid and McKinnon and seeing if I can, live to tell the tale. With that being said, I think that with the cards turn over, there's a, 80% chance that McTavish, Cutter, and Beckett Seneca make that cut. So I'm going to go Anaheim 2 here. I'm not leaving off Cutter. I think he is a little bit overpriced, but it's not even it's not overpriced for what he can do. He's overpriced what he's been doing. And I'm really optimistic that this matchup can be a spot where that line can just, switch that back on again. Give me that 8 shot on goal, 2 goal Cutter Gauthier game. Give me, this little power play goal from McTavish, and we're sitting here just printing money against a very, very bad defensive San Jose Sharks.
Okay. I have 2 game stacks in mind. So I'm going to start with Boston, Calgary, and go Pasta, Minton. You can include a third Boston Bruin if you would like, but I just want to make sure that Blake Coleman goes in there. We talked about Blake Coleman on the shutdown line with Backlund. He's on the top power play as well. They've been playing really well as a 2-man unit together offensively. So I like my chances if this game goes over its total, that those 3 pieces are all involved. And given the prices, it obviously Pasta captures almost the entire Boston offense, and the other 2 guys with Minton's newfound role as Pasta's center and Coleman's newfound role in the top power play, I think are just dramatically underpriced for those roles.
Okay. What's your other one? Just do it so I don't take anything.
I'm going to do the Minnesota top line with Hartman, Kaprizov, Zuccarello. Yep. Don't overthink it. Not going to mix in, Jeek and Boldy or whatever. But you could. And then obviously Alex Holtz on the other side, because I got to ruin this for everyone else. I got to click Alex Holtz so we can play 11 minutes and get sent down to the AHL tomorrow.
Yeah. And I will say as a caveat, I think that there's a very strong chance I have Minnesota with my Anaheim tomorrow. Like that's sort of what I'm starting with, and how I'm going to build it exactly is yet to be seen. But the last team, I think there's 2 other teams that I think I said I was pretty high on and debating between the 2, but I think when it all is said and done, I'm going to end up with Clayton Keller and Dylan Gunther, and then maybe just a third piece around it. So I'm going to call it Schmaltz for now. And maybe it ends up being Dursey, but just stacking pieces of Utah and hoping that they just take advantage of Nashville, and that the goals kind of come through a correlated piece. So I'm just going to say Utah 1, but with Gunther and maybe not Peterka, or maybe I could end up with a 4-man. Like I'm not positive at this point, but that's kind of another angle that I think a thread I'm going to pull on. Like they all feel a little bit too cheap. I mean, really even Peterka for the role just hasn't really been great, but like, I don't think there's a single player other than Sergachev that feels a touch overpriced. I like this Utah side of the things, and I'm not sure how I'm going to play it, but I think I'll have it. So that is that. And that leads us to the final part of the show, guaranteed goals, where we guarantee goals. Matt, I went first with stacks. You went second too. So do you want to go first with guaranteed goals, and I'll go second too? Could be fun.
I'm gonna take. Wait.
Ryan.
Yeah, you did go first. Okay. That's right. I'm gonna go Ryan Leonard. guaranteed goal.
You took him last time.
No, I didn't. Did I really? He was hurt, wasn't he?
Oh,
No, I did
you know what's
John
funny?
Leonard.
You did John
Yeah.
Leonard. You're right. You did his better brother. I didn't even look if he scored, actually. I looked at Ryan Leonard scored. Okay. Ryan Leonard played last game, I thought. No?
Yeah. But we didn't know he was in until we didn't know he was in when we podcasted.
Pepperidge Farms remembers. All right. I will go. You know what? Actually, I'm not going to do what I was about to say. I'm going to start with someone expensive that I really like, and then I'm going to go down and figure it out from there. So I will go. Which game? Let's look. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one thing. I was going to pick another player. I feel like when you pick a player that's cheap, I think like my brain goes, you know what? I'm going to pick someone that's cheap. Like, good idea. And then we end up with the same ranges, and it's like,
what are we what's going to happen. I know what you're going to.
What am I going to pick?
I'm going to write it down on a piece of paper.
Okay. Oh, everything's a 5.5 tomorrow. Interesting. All right. I am going to go Drake Batherson. Is that not what you wrote down?
Quick check.
But does it keep it alive? Batherson's 55, I think.
55? Nope. You did it. Great job. I wrote down someone in the 6,500 range because that's what I left myself with.
Okay, yeah. I was actively trying to avoid it. I did consider Nachos if that's who you wanted.
I was literally, I almost wrote down the name Nachos, but I thought it was too inside. I thought that was too inside your brain, so I wanted to take a step back.
The player that I was considering was hold on, I'm trying to remember. I was going to say Stankoven was the guy I had here, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm about to go with exactly what you have. Okay.
Well,
so
I'm really glad that you were able to parse me out, but the Marty Nachos of it all, we've been, relatively like, whatever, but now the price has fallen. The matchup is the matchup, but I think Marty Nachos is as good a bet as anyone in the sub 6.8K range to score a goal here. So let's go Marty Nachos, guaranteed goal.
Okay. I will cap it off with Pavel Dorofeyev. I know you like Holtz. I get it. I think that line is just a bit more explosive anyways, and Dorofeyev has been shooting a lot and not being as rewarded. I mean, he should be the guy in the top power play. I don't know. The power play has just been, dare I say, bad. But regardless, get Theodore back in there in no time and they'll be all fixed. So Dorofeyev, Batherson, Ryan Leonard, Marty Party, Nachos.
The Marty Party. Alrighty. Thank you to everyone for hanging out. Bears Bets here. Dan, watching you guys from the plane. Longtime listener of the show. Hope you had a nice holiday and good luck. See you tomorrow on Discord. That's right. If you want to join the Discord,
go fast.
Yeah. If you want to join us in the Discord, DM me at Fake Moods or DJ at DJ_Mitchell94. You can also reach out on Discord. I am #Moods13. So you can shoot me a DM and I can get you in that way as well. But yeah, we have a lot of fun in there. We complain about lots of stuff. Well, I do. People post their winning stuff. I don't. And yeah, that's about what we do over in the Discord. So like I mentioned earlier, there will be no show between now and the new year. Tuesday slate is relatively small. Wednesday slate is throughout the day. So it starts at noon, that whole thing. So I don't think we'll have time to do anything of the sort, but if there's a live stream, there will be a live stream. You'll be able to find that in, the Discord or on Twitter or whatever. But again, don't think so. And I believe we will be back in, good order starting next week. So, next Tuesday, whatever that is, the 6th, January 6th in the new year.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Okay, so that'll do it from us. Best of luck on Monday, everybody. From Doug, from DJ, from myself, have a good end of the 2025 year, everybody, and we will see ya.
You're saying they're looking like an idiot.
Well, is that any different than normal?
This is the first time I will admit was unbelievably wrong.